Hey everybody, this is Fi. Today I'm checking out Horace. This is a part of the Reddit Feedback Friday. I've got the game page open here. It says, I'm Paul Hellman and this is Horace, a platform adventure game about a small robot on a big adventure. After 5 years of working tirelessly on my passion project, I released a demo and would really appreciate feedback from anyone who is willing to try out my game. So I'm not going to go through and read everything here, but it does mention that it's a story-driven game. I guess you might find a number of cutscenes and such. It also mentions the demo's about an hour or so long. I probably won't play it for that long, but we're going to give it a play test, see if it gives some useful feedback. Hopefully there's not... Well, I mean, it's fine if there's a lot of cutscenes and stuff, but hopefully there's a good amount of gameplay, I guess is what I'm getting at. So I got the game running here. I will note that the music is... I haven't seen anything past the screen, but the music so far is really loud. This is a common problem I find with many in development games that I test, is that people kind of make the volume levels as loud as they go instead of kind of matching it to what other... I always tell people to match their volume levels, you know, roughly to other games they have installed or whatever else on their PC. But I turned on the Xbox controller. Apparently it's a platformer, so that should work well for us, I think. Let's check out the options real quick. Music volume, sound effect volume. So I've already turned it down a little bit in the capture here. Hopefully it's a reasonable level. I'll go ahead and start. Oh. Man 2.0. So some fairly intricate animations here. I think I just heard a Facebook notification, so I'll go ahead and mute that after this cutscene. I should have done that before. Looks like we got a little golden robot boy here. That's cute. Hello. We are alive. Alright, I guess we're getting shipped somewhere. Oops. It's looking a little bit jerky. I'm wondering if maybe... it might not show up on the capture, I don't know. Alright. So it looks fine now. Like, I don't see any screen tearing or anything, so I'm wondering why that was the case. Maybe it was just the, Oh, this is cool. Everyone's like, come on, you can do it. Alright, this is cool. Just real quick, I'm gonna jump out and I'm gonna mute the Facebook here so that doesn't happen again. So a lot of attention obviously put into the presentation so far. It's quite nice. And we've got up and down. It's a very smooth. Camera's very smooth. Alright, so I started using the Xbox D-pad. That was apparently a bad idea. I'm getting all these false inputs.
And so, I was born. The first people I remember seeing were the old man, the old lady, and their daughter, Heather. After they'd said hello, the old man powered me down so he could install some software.
The last
I could
ninja.
tell they were nice people. The old man
Commodore
didn't give
64
me a
game.
silly voice or stupid personality. And the old lady didn't dress me like a clown. Although for some reason, Heather really didn't like me. Once I'd had time to get used to walking, the old man asked me to dash from one end of the room to the other.
Okay, X button. Alright, so I can move more nimbly now. Okay. It's really interesting, the parallax and everything.
Next, the old man spent a couple of hours building some wooden platforms. He said he wanted me to jump up them, but I must admit, I was scared. It wasn't until I saw Heather and her mother happily climbing up them that I decided it might be okay.
Alright. Quite silly. So I'm noticing the upwards jump speed in which you go up. It's kind of low. Looks like it might kind of accelerate a bit instead of being like an instantaneous velocity, so it feels a little weird. Yeah, it kind of feels a little bit sluggish to me actually, but I'm not sure how much that'll matter in the end. Yeah, I prefer it to feel a little more responsive. Yeah, it's definitely very noticeable to me. So I guess we can't go this way.
The old man then rearranged the platforms. He told me to try to reach the other end of the room without touching the floor. Heather said the floor's made of lava, but when I smiled at her, she just frowned and looked away. The old lady arranged some pillows and blankets. She said it was in case I fell, but I think she just wanted it to look more like lava.
Alright, that's charming. It does look more like lava. That's funny. Oh gosh. Alright.
When I reached the other side, the old man just smiled and said, "That'll do, for now." The next morning, the old man gathered everyone together to show them what I was capable of. "What else does he do?" asked Mr. Silton. The old man smiled. "He can help around the house." "Can't he help me with my newspaper collecting?" asked Alice. "I'm not sure that's a good idea," said the old lady, "but he can do all sorts of jobs." "Yeah," said Mr. Silton, "shove a stick up his ass and he can do Deck's job."
Oh my gosh.
Now, said the old man, "we have company," pointing to some important-looking people. Two large men, both called Gary, set up what the old man referred to as lasers. He said again, I should try to get from one end of the room to the other, but I shouldn't be worried, as I had a special chip which meant no matter how damaged I was, I couldn't die. He said it was like infinite lives in a video game. But when he realized I didn't understand, he said he would explain another time.
Alright, yeah, so the obvious thing is that the pixel graphics look pretty... it's almost a little hard on the eyes when you get so zoomed in the cutscenes, but it's also the kind of thing where it probably can't really be helped. So I guess we're just... Can I duck? I can duck. So the ducking wasn't oh, okay. So the ducking wasn't explained, but, you know, it's one of those things where if you played video games before, you're probably gonna try it. So this is a little tight right here. It definitely feels doable, but... Are these on the same... So it looks to me like the second one and the first one, they're kind of on different timers. Right, they definitely are, so that means that it's a little unpredictable, like where the next one's going to be after you run past this one. So I would consider making those kind of line up better so that this doesn't change every time you try it. So yeah, I always feel like I should be able to just run past the first one, then like run to the next one real quick, but then it's sort of like the timing isn't necessarily going to work, but it might.
The Garys then rearranged the room one last time. The old man smiled. Now, there's no need to look so glum, he said. I'm still happy with everything you've done today. So this time, I was determined to do him proud.
Alright, that is something. I don't even know what that is. I guess we just don't touch it. Where do we go from here? Down?
The old man's friends actually seemed quite happy when I made it through. We might have a winner after all, said the man in black. It's no Killbot 3000, but you can almost see the fire in its eyes. A couple of days later, the old lady said she had a surprise for me. My own room. She also wanted to play me some music. I wasn't sure after what Mr. Silton had shown me. As if music wasn't amazing enough, the old lady then bought me a television set. I couldn't believe what I saw. I watched everything I could. Comedy, drama, horror, sci-fi. Anything anyone wanted to watch I would happily watch with them. Then one day, the old man set up a small box. He plugged some cables into the television and said, "This is what I meant when I said video games."
Alright.
I played games at every chance I could. I took on everyone. I was unstoppable. I had enjoyed music, film, and television. But to me, video games really were the highest art form. Heather's birthday was a couple of months later. Her mum and dad had bought her a camera and arranged a day out by the sea so that Heather could take some photos, although I really don't think she wanted any pictures of me. When the old man asked the professor if he wanted to go, he frowned and said, "I can't believe you want to spend time with that thing, it could destroy the world." I wasn't sure what he meant, but the old man just smiled and said, "That's what you said about the Game Boy. And Tom, how about you?" "I don't think so," said Mr. Deck. "The last time I got in that car, Barry crashed us into a branch of Woolworths. I never would have gone into Woolworths of my own accord." The old man explained that the car was old and the brakes had failed, but Mr. Deck was having none of it. So Mr. Silton drove, and Alice came along for the fresh air. I enjoyed being outside. Although, the old lady kept telling me to be careful of the rickety old walkways. It felt like she was telling me off, but I think she was just concerned.
Definitely quite a lot of cutscenes. A lot of time in the cutscenes.
As the old man and I stood on the cliff tops, I could see something in the distance. I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked the old man. He said it was a battleship that had sunk in the 1940s. But he looked so sad when he spoke about war. I didn't see what happened, but the metal platform Heather was climbing on had collapsed. She was safe, even if the rocks she was on looked very dangerous. The tide was rising, and we didn't know how long the Coast Guard was going to be, so I offered to climb down and get her. The old man agreed, but said I should be careful, as Heather doesn't have infinite lives, like I do.
Alright, So that's a wall. Alright, that sounded... The audio might have been clipping a bit there. It sounded pretty distorted, so I want to be careful with the audio levels. It's really interesting how he's using the parallax to make these look 3D. It's a neat sort of effect. Oops, that's not good. Alright, can I still make this jump? So do I go to the right now? What's over here then? Oh, I can't actually. I thought I could jump up on those. Apparently I can't. So I can't get up there now. That's fine. Let's do it again. So that's kind of weird.
Heather was unconscious, and her leg was broken. So I picked her up as gently as I could. I decided it would be best if I didn't run the rest of the way.
So what happens if I do run? I can't run, okay. So I can't run now.
An ambulance had arrived by the time I had made it back to the cliff top. The medics made sure Heather was okay, and then took her off to hospital. A few days later, we all went to see how she was doing. She was fine, but would have to wear the cast for a couple of months.
Some cute little jokes hidden in there. So I'm guessing that was a wheelchair.
Once Heather got to know me, we became good friends. We enjoyed the same films and TV. She was also annoyingly good at some of my favorite games. After a while, she became very interested in how I worked. Soon she knew as much about me as the old man did, if not more. We spent the next couple of months visiting other countries, as when it came to teaching me things, the old man always liked to pick interesting locations. He had explained the basics of mathematics to me at the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Taught me history in the dead of night, surrounded by mysterious giant stones. And even showed me science in action high up in a hot air balloon. This is why I was surprised when the old man took me to a restaurant. It was nice, but it seemed very somber compared to the previous grand locations. He said he just wanted to chat, and this was nice and quiet. Plus it was his favorite place to eat. We talked about life, the universe, Douglas Adams, everything really. When I asked him why were we here, why did we exist, he just smiled and said, "Life is like a game, just don't expect to be finished anytime soon." When I looked puzzled, he said, "Well, everyone should have a purpose." So I asked him, "What's my purpose?" He thought for a bit, then said, "So you want to be a real boy?" Which just confused me even more. Eventually the old man said, "For now, I want you to help clean things around the house." I must have looked unimpressed, as he then said, "Okay." I want you to clean 1,000,000 things. It didn't sound like the meaning of life, but I suppose you've got to start somewhere. The next day, the old man said he wanted to install some more software, so he powered me down. When I came to, he said Mr. Silton had a joke for me, and that I should pull his finger. I don't think I got the joke. So the old man powered me down again. This time when I pulled Mr. Silton's finger, I got the joke. But it wasn't very funny. The old man then explained that he had installed a special chip which allowed me to clean away anything that was broken. He then said he wanted me to find and clean all of the items in the room, then come back here.
Okay. Oh, we just touch everything? Platform there. How did I miss this? How did I miss that? Did I jump over those? Oh. What? Oh, some stuff you have to stand on for a second, I guess? That's weird. Alright, I guess I have to get the stuff up top. I don't know how to get up there, though. Oh, can I climb on these? Okay, so that wasn't obvious to me at all. Until obviously I had to, you know, kind of troubleshoot as to how I could possibly get up there. So that's something that could probably be made more obvious. Oh, I can kind of swing. Okay. So I guess I have to do that. I feel like I should be able to turn around, though. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of unusual to me, the idea of that the things you have to like stand on them for a period of time rather than it just being instantaneous, that they get cleaned up. It's an unusual choice. Now, why is that thing flashing? So I have to clean up this giant car. Alright, the car is gone. I think that was everything. Oh, there's this.
The old man then asked the old lady Heather and I to follow him outside. I was happy too, as it was a lovely hot day. The old man said he was worried that Alice had been hoarding again. She had filled up a small barn with old bicycles and newspapers. Heather said this would be a perfect chance to properly test my new powers. The old man thought for a second, then said, using the steptoe chip, I should find and clean at least 300 things. When we explained to Alice what we wanted to do, she seemed scared. But after the old lady kindly explained that, well, the barn was starting to smell, she said it would be okay. One last thing, said the old man. If you want to use a door, just push up. When I was about to enter the old barn, Mr. Silton said he had seen some mushrooms growing inside. He asked me to give him any that I found. He then winked, but I wasn't sure why.
So I'm not sure if... Oh, there's a pause menu, okay. Alright, so pressing... Alright, so if I press start, it goes in the pause menu, but then I have to press A to return. I can't just press start again, it's slightly annoying. Times Lazarus chip used, 4. Huh. Interesting. Another thing that I was going to mention here, I'm not sure if the cutscenes are skippable. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in the cutscenes in this game, so it might be unfortunate for someone to skip them, but nonetheless, it's kind of a rule that you pretty much have to make cutscenes skippable in a game. I wasn't willing to test that out because I didn't want to skip any of it. But another thing is that I noticed that it was mentioned how to go through doors in the cutscene, which can be a bad idea because, you know, if someone isn't interested in the cutscenes and they just want to do the gameplay, if you like hide little important details in the cutscene or whatever, then that's something that can get missed. So I generally recommend, like, once you get out of the cutscene, then like teach the player what they need to know. Alright, so okay. Oh, that's what. Okay, so this is the visuals on the left here are kind of busy. I couldn't really tell that there was gonna be water that I was gonna fall in here. It's not obvious that there's like a ledge to walk off of right here. It just kind of looks weird. So yeah, honestly, the feeling of kind of, I feel like I can't just run through everything as fast as I want to. I feel like I have to kind of go slowly, so I make sure to actually delete all the garbage. So I think it's kind of annoying because I'd rather just kind of run through it and not have to worry so much about it. And a lot of it you kind of get just by running through it, but then there's like always bits that are left behind, so it's kind of annoying. Would prefer to go through fast. What's that music sound? I have no idea what that was. So there's a picture there. I can't really tell what it's supposed to be of. Oh, mushrooms. So I guess that's what that sound was. It's the mushrooms. It's a little weird to have that little ditty go on kind of on top of the music that's playing. It doesn't really overlap very well, I guess. Okay, there's a little spark down there. Whoa! I was not expecting it to change direction all of a sudden. So presumably my progress is saved every time I go through a door, I'm guessing? Can I just jump up there? No, I can't. No, this is sticky. Oh, jeez. One too many things to dodge there. I dodged two of them, and then a third one was there all of a sudden. Alright, so it looks like the hitboxes might be a little big, actually, on the collision boxes on the little... either the sparks themselves or my character or both. It seems like sometimes it's like I mean, it's not ridiculously huge by any means, but there was a moment there where it kind of felt like I probably shouldn't have gotten hit by it, and that's... I generally tell people make the collision boxes smaller than the sprite by a good margin, but in any case, we gotta actually get through this part. So... can I drop down through this, maybe? No. That would be nice if I could. Ah! That's sketchy. So I think I completed this room. So that's another thing. I don't think there's really any means to tell, like, if you've missed anything in a room or anything like that. So I wonder about that, if that could become a problem, especially if there's like a kind of a big sprawling level like this and you're just not sure, like if you just missed something somewhere at the beginning or somewhere, something that wasn't really obvious or something, and you could just be stuck for a while not knowing where it was and like feeling like you have to keep backtracking looking for it and that sort of thing. I guess I went back out again, so this is a little confusing also, the layout. Did I do this already? I don't... Okay, so I guess that... Was that from here and then went up there, I think? Yeah, so it's a little confusing. All the doors and everything. And then I went in here. Oh, maybe I'm just supposed to go back to the family by now anyways. Which is something that could be explained, I think, because not every game you have to, like, go back to the start after you complete the objective. That's kind of something I would consider particular to this game. So...
The old man was very happy with everything that I had cleaned. But I think Mr. Silton was even more happy with his mushrooms. It wasn't the days getting shorter, or the evenings getting colder. It was the falling leaves that really made me feel sad. As we watched the trees blowing in the breeze, the old lady said, "The leaves must fall before the blossom comes." She had already explained the seasons to me, so for once, I actually understood. But it didn't make me feel any better. The old lady obviously had enough of my moping, and said, "Right, next week we're going to have a party." For some reason she insisted that we were all going to wear costumes. Heather was very excited and said, "I've got some perfect ideas."
Oh my gosh. Halloween. Party. Okay. 7 p.m. too.
It was terrifying. Everyone was dressed like someone else. I think I was meant to be some kind of pumpkin, as everyone kept shouting, "It's the Great Pumpkin." Still, at least Mr. Silton was having fun telling everyone his joke. And I suppose Heather's costume was quite flattering. After what seemed like forever, everybody left, and things got back to normal. Heather was allowed to watch a scary film before she went to bed, but I had to help Alice and Mr. Deck clean up. I wasn't happy about this, but the old man said
Space
if I was
adventure.
quick, then I could watch the end of the film with them. Alice was vacuuming, and Mr. Deck was taking down the decorations, so I thought I should clean up the plates and glasses.
Alright. So I guess the flashing effect is to make sure you know which thing is something you're supposed to go after. Why is that alarm going off? Why is that happening?
The ear-splitting sound was the fire alarm. As usual, Mr. Deck blamed Mr. Silton, saying he was probably smoking one of his jazz cigarettes. But then the professor appeared. He said that there was something burning in the kitchen. Alice looked confused, saying that she hadn't cooked anything since the morning. We were all surprised when Mr. Deck opened the oven. Inside was a large black cloak and a slightly burnt pair of men's underwear. Suddenly the old lady burst in. She looked terrified. She kept shouting, "There's someone on the roof." When we went outside, it slowly became obvious that it was Mr. Silton. He was completely naked and playing his guitar. He shouted down, "When I finish this song, I'm going to fly." The old lady said, "Oh my God, I know this one, there's only about 30 seconds left." The old man then quickly turned to me and said, "You know what to do."
Oh gosh, this rock music now. Holy cow. What? How do you get past this? How do you... Can I... Oops. I just pushed the wrong button. Oh, you can kind of... Well, that was never explained. But I guess that's a thing. Again, I'm hearing some clipping on the audio. It's actually really distracting. So you definitely gotta check those audio levels. That was kind of sketchy. I had to wait for the spark, but I was on a platform that was about to fall, so little sprung things. Can I go over here? What's over here?
By the time I had made it up to the roof, Mr. Silton was beside the edge. I tried to calm him down, but he was acting even more bizarre than usual. After an hour or so, Mr. Silton was fine. He said he had eaten some bad magic mushrooms. Part of me wondered why he hadn't doubled in size. Still, he was soon laughing and joking with the paramedics. One of them said he looked like the world's worst clown. I don't think Mr. Silton liked that. So he told his own joke. But that just made the other paramedic call him Marshmallow Marso.
What did
I
he
don't
say?
think he liked that either. But at least he was still in one piece. So, this is only a demo, but I still wanted you to see plenty of my story, so if we just skip ahead a little, let's just say I woke up here.
Okay.
Was I dead? Was this heaven? It sort of looked like the basement bathroom.
Alright, so yeah, I mean, that hasn't
It
really...
was the shoes the old man was going to give me. I thought I might as well put them on. They were just the right size. The old man's hat fit me pretty good as well. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I wore it.
Alright, yeah, but
Amazingly, the shoes allowed me to defy gravity. Or maybe it was the hat.
what's he doing with the tie, though? That's weird. Why does he keep pulling it to... Oh, because it's in his face or something? So I can see? That's kind of cute. So yeah, I was gonna say there hasn't really been all that much gameplay so far. It's kind of been pretty sparse. That's trippy. Which, wow, that got really weird. Alright, so I went up here and then I jumped and it like I meant to kind of jump forward and it flipped when I didn't want it to, actually. So that's interesting. Like if I want to, I can fall this way. It's just if you kind of do it wrong. Wow, okay, so here I just held to the right and then it flipped. Wait, let me see if I can do it again. Yeah, when it flips I'm going to the left. I'm still holding right. So that seems to be a bug. I'm just holding right the whole time. So that's definitely not correct. That's very weird. Okay, and going up the stairs like that, it'd be nice if you could make a special case for stairs. Because they're stairs, and it doesn't really make sense to walk upstairs this way, so... But yeah, interesting. I think usually games like this, with this sort of mechanic, have you do it kind of... have like a button that does it or something, rather than it working automatically. So that might present some interesting issues, where I think if it was a button it would probably be easier to kind of rein in some of those things.
Part of the basement was flooded, and the stairs had collapsed. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew I wanted to get back upstairs.
So I don't think I'm supposed to touch water. I missed the jump there. Yeah, so the thing is, generally in platformers it's a good idea to have ledge forgiveness, so like a few frames after you walk off a ledge, you can press jump and it will still register, which tends to make this sort of thing feel a lot better. But for this, you kind of go around it in this sort of rounded edge sort of thing, so it's almost like it doesn't even make sense in this context. I mean, obviously I'm supposed to go up here. I'm just kind of commenting on that. It's a little bit of an unusual issue, I think. Potentially. But yeah, I can do this. What's this?
The gate was locked. I would need a key to open it.
Okay.
I had to be careful. The electricity was going haywire in some places.
Okay, so I couldn't tell if this was a hole, but I know now. Alright, so I think I should be able to do this. Yeah. Ew, it's kind of annoying actually. So I can go up here. Oh, okay. So I can jump up like this. Can I go through it now?
How
Right.
long had I been asleep? Months? Years?
Oh
I
no.
was so confused. Where had everybody gone?
Oh no. He's been asleep for like 100 years, hasn't he? Alright. So I guess we're just still performing this basic function of cleaning stuff up. See, that's really annoying. You just have to stand on stuff. I just want to run through it. So, I can't touch that. Wait, what is that? It's just a radio tower that just happens to be electrified for some reason. Alright, so in this part it doesn't... So I guess it's only if I'm running it, it'll... Or maybe it just depends on how fast I'm going, like if I reach max speed then the camera doesn't bother to rotate. It's an interesting detail. Alright, so this where it's kind of covered by the tree, that's kind of annoying because, I mean, for obvious reasons. Okay, people screaming for help, that's really disconcerting. Alright, screw the stuff, I'm gonna run. Oh my gosh. Alright, it's going in the right... It sounds like it's coming from right here. Like the stereo, for some reason, effect goes to the right after I get past this point, so it sounds really
The
weird.
screaming was coming from one of the bedrooms, but the stairs were blocked by a wall of fire.
Indeed. Oh gosh, that was trippy. Alright. Oh, there's more doors. Oh, this is too confusing. Where am I going? I just went to the bathroom? See, this seems a little excessive. Like, I don't think there needs to be that many doors, really. So there's someone over here. There's a Nintendo.
The people screaming turned out to be a man, a woman, and their children. They were confused and terrified. At first the man looked like he was ready to fight me, but after I convinced them that I was there to help, he calmed down. There was no way I could carry them all at once, so the children went first.
Oh no, wait, I can't do that. Okay, this is lit, so that's a nice touch, so you can kind of tell this is going
I
outside.
dropped the children off at the front door and promised them that I would be back with their parents.
Oops. Oh, that's trippy. Okay, well. Oh. Can I jump over it? Oh, I gotta do it up here, obviously. Oh no!
The fire was getting much worse, so the woman went next. When we got to the front door, All the woman said was, "Thank you. Please hurry."
Now what? Oh crap. Oh crap again. Wait, what is up above there? Oh, let's see. Oh, he's on the
By
ground.
the time I managed to get back, the man was unconscious. I had to pick him up quickly, as I could tell the house was going to collapse at any moment.
Oh, he's so heavy. Run! Oh no! Jump? I can't jump either. Uh-oh. He's alive. Well, that was dispenseful.
There were plenty of other things that happened, but again for the purposes of the demo, let's skip forward to where I was back inside the mansion.
Okay. Oh. Alright, so I just wanted to mention I really liked the kind of clever use of the level design in that last part where it was kind of like the more and more the house was getting restricted, and then it kind of opened up new avenues that you could get through it again and stuff, and that was really well done, I think, so that's cool. This whole mechanic of cleaning up the garbage is really strange to me, though. Okay, I don't know what those are. Oh, so this is slippery, I guess. Can I jump off that? Oh, I can wall jump. Mega Man style. So what are these boots and stuff? I don't know what I'm looking at here. What are these? Okay, they're things I'm not supposed to touch. I don't know. I don't know what any of that means. Can I get over this? It looks like I can, but it's like really tight. I can, yeah. What is that? Oh, more garbage. Oh, it takes too long. Oh, I was not expecting it to rotate like that. Okay. Oh, it's coming towards me. That was really weird looking. Alright, so I don't know how... I actually have no idea what's going on. I was just thrown into this place. I don't really know anything about what's happening, so I don't know if I need to get these the garbage things. Oh no, I wasn't holding X, so I think that limited the length of my jump. So what'll happen if I just don't pick up the garbage stuff? Ah, that collision is pretty. It seems like you really have to have the right momentum, so like if I do it real fast then it kind of works, but if I don't then the momentum seems to kind of throw that off a lot for some reason. Alright, so for some reason these boot things are very bad to touch. I don't know how to get past that or if I can. So where do I go from here? Just jump down like between these, sort of? Oh, well, I wasn't thinking that way. Okay. Yeah, that's really annoying, actually. That's also annoying. Oh, jeez, the inertia in the air. All right, so yeah, I'm a big fan of like the Mega Man X games. The controls are way different in this game, even though this feels very much like the sort of platforming you get in the X games. In those games, for instance, there's zero inertia on the movement, on your horizontal movement, so you just always go your full horizontal speed. And this, you know, it has a little dash move that you can kind of go on a faster speed, but makes the left and right very responsive. And just in general, it just kind of works a lot different. So, like up to this point, I haven't really had any kind of, I guess what you'd call like advanced platforming that this is starting to feel like. So I wouldn't have considered it a problem. Obviously, I'm doing this wrong because I realize now that I realized before when I kept jumping down into the fire there. But yeah, it's potentially problematic to have just so much inertia and all the movement in all the different ways, because it just makes the controls less responsive. That ceiling is just a little bit low for me here. It's kind of annoying that it just, even then I touched it, I didn't think I was going to, so. And that, so this is a combination of the way the inertia works and where the collision boxes are here. It's making that hard, and that. When I just fell down there, like in a Mega Man game, I could have easily gotten back on the wall here, because left and right is kind of, the horizontal movement is normalized. So you can make quick adjustments like that, where in this you kind of have to do everything at a particular pace. If you don't, then you lose your momentum and then you end up dying. So, okay, so I can also go up here, which I think means I can just jump. Nope, I can't do that. Okay. So I have to do it this way. Alright, now we have to walk up here and duck. This right here. I should be able to jump. Oh, I touched the fire. That's annoying. Crap, that doesn't work. Alright, so that has to be done a very particular way, because it only rotates when you like walk around that corner. Oh, that was close. So I can't like jump forward and then have it rotate. Unless maybe I get really close to the wall or something. But... oh, that was annoying. So we have to go up and then, ooh, that's weird. Alright, that's pretty awkward. So I have to not touch that. I don't know why the fire kind of goes up above the platform on the sides. It seems unnecessary to me. Get over it. And then, just another one of these sorts of setups. Okay. So it's sort of mirrored, I guess. The whole way out here. Alright. What a password. I don't have the password. Oh my gosh. How do I get... I mean, pressing the buttons, it does this, but it's not actually, like, doing anything, so... I seem to be stuck. Because I can't get out of this screen. I can't even like press start to pause, which is probably not a good thing, because if you need to get into the menu to like quit the game or something, then that's what you need to be able to do. So yeah, not sure what's up with this, if this is just unfinished or something. Incorrect. Oh, there's an enter key. Oh. pressed enter on the keyboard. I can type with the keyboard, okay. Okay. So right, so I just did all this and apparently I just don't have the password. But yeah, that wasn't such a great thing because none of the controller buttons work when you get in this state, so that's obviously not a good thing to be happening. So I think if I just kill myself, I should be able to go back to the start here, and I should be able to just go back to this. So that's weird. I don't know what that... I mean, it's a strange choice to have the level laid out like that, where there's just a door at the beginning and then there's this crazy platforming section, and then if you get through it you have to have a password. I don't know what that's all about at all. It's really quite confusing. I also don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I think I can... Yeah, okay, so I can do that. That looks dangerous. Alright. I thought they were gonna... Wait a second. So it doesn't give a lot of time. Alright. So I have to do this at the right timing so that these things don't line up in a bad way. Alright, I get a little wheel here. Oh, these things I can get too. So again, I don't know the purpose of cleaning this stuff up or if it's really necessary. So again, there's another sort of door on the side here. It looks like I can keep going up, in theory. Yeah, I can keep going up. There's another door here, so I don't know why. Why is there a door? More trash. Meat. I wanted to jump on the next platform, but I ended up on the side of this. Right. That's sketchy. How do I get to that platform on the left then? Or do I just ignore it? I'll just ignore it for now. Alright. This is interesting. Is that gonna touch me if I uncrouch? I don't want to risk it. I don't trust the collision in this game that much. Uh-oh, my controller's low on battery, I think. That's not great. Please don't die. I'm still playing. I made a different sound. Alright, so I don't know why this door is leading me off in a different direction here. It's kind of confusing. Oh, the water touched me. I guess I have to account for the water going up and down at the same time as everything else. Oh no! Seems like it might be a little bit excessive to have to deal with the water at the same time because of the timing of everything doesn't necessarily line up the way you need it to, and if it just kind of lines up in a way that you can't survive, then that's not very fun. So how do we get it to work? I don't know what the right timing is with everything on. Everything's on a different timer. Going back and forth. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's pretty annoying in my opinion. Like, I don't mind segments being challenging, but there are those times where you just have to try and figure out how to line everything up. That gets pretty annoying in my opinion. So that's something I would suggest trying to kind of take control of the timings of everything going back and forth, so it becomes a lot more predictable, so you don't have to deal with that sort of thing. It's just more about the dexterity of platforming elements and not about having to deal with that. Crap. Oh crap, I jumped before I thought about what I was doing. Okay, so how do I do this? Oh gosh, everything is annoying. It's like every time it seems like everything is right, something else, one of the other elements gets in the way. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, we're alive so far. I guess these are bad guys. They look like me. I can't... The water's going up above the floor here too, so that's problematic. Ew, and you have to go quite a while before you get like a checkpoint or anything. So there's a lot of opportunities to die and have to like go through a lot of level again. Alright, we made it. So yeah, I'm wondering about... Oh, you have to press up to grab that, okay. I'm wondering about that that place before where... Oh, that's what's right below me, isn't it? Okay, so I guess this was just bonus areas where I could get more trash or something? Because I could have gone through this instead of going through that door. So that's what I was curious about. Okay, so this is actually a good example of a place where I'd like to be able to move on the left and right side of the chain here. I'm not sure if the swinging is really necessary. But yeah, I can only guess the only purpose of going in these is to get more garbage or something. This is very strange all of a sudden. Oh, okay, that kills you. Is up with this painting. Can I jump on it? I can. Is it gonna laser me? Okay, I can duck. Now what's this thing on the left here? That is this curly thing. It's like sparkly. A little laser. Oh, there's there's a little laser there. Okay, I can't go on the floor either. Oh, okay, so those things ignite when you walk over them. Oh, crap. Lasers. Oh, shoot, I just want to get on the other end of it. The corner of it. Didn't make that. Alright, there's a loose thing right here for some reason. Just gonna ignore that trash there. What is going on? Oh gosh, okay, thank you so much for playing the demo. The finished game will hopefully be released this year. If you liked it, please tell somebody about it. For updates, please follow at Horace Dev and at Horace the Robot on Twitter. And we've got 2. Oh wow. I wasn't expecting that to happen. But yeah, apparently that's the end of the demo, so. Alright, so interesting how it kind of changed into the chiptunes. But I guess that's the end. So yeah, very interesting game for sure. A lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of the cutscenes are pretty nice, the story elements and stuff. And I noticed I mentioned my thoughts as I had them while playing. Yeah, I mean, it was compelling enough. I kept playing for quite a while. I don't even know how long I've been recording, so yeah, pretty interesting. I will say that it did seem like there's a lot of gameplay that like the gameplay itself developed kind of really slowly over the course of even just this demo, even with it kind of skipping ahead in the game the way it did. So, you know, generally it's a good idea to kind of front load some of the good stuff there in your game, because, you know, you have to deal with the first impressions element where, you know, if someone plays the game for a while and they decide that the gameplay isn't that compelling to them, then they might not keep playing until it actually gets more compelling in the end. So that's something that would probably be worth considering, especially with like how long the cutscenes and everything kind of add to the game time and stuff like that. It definitely felt like it was really quite simplistic at the start, whereas, you know, eventually I got to the point where it had kind of this cool part where the building on fire and stuff, and that was cool because it was you know, quite tense in the sort of the thematic elements. And then obviously at this point with this last part where it's all just kind of hardcore platforming at this point, and I saw a lot of other elements that were introduced here. But comparing that to like the beginning of the game where you're just like cleaning up the trash, you know, there's a big disparity there. So definitely consider if there are ways to front load some of the good stuff there to you know, just make sure the beginning gameplay is compelling enough in whatever way you can. I will mention that the whole picking up the trash thing is kind of weird. It just kind of seems like it's something that's just probably not that interesting, I would imagine, to a lot of gamers. I didn't really find it all that compelling. It was just kind of a thing that, you know, it wasn't bad necessarily, but it was just kind of busy work in some sense. So yeah, I kind of wonder why that was a thing. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of a thematic thing where it's kind of like at the beginning you're just a robot that needed a purpose, so they just said, you know, go ahead and clean up some trash for us, and it's if you think about it, kind of funny that just continues to be a thing you do throughout the rest of the game. But on the other hand, in terms of just pure gameplay, it didn't seem that compelling to me. Again, I do think it would be less. I mean, I think it would be less annoying in some sense if it kind of picked up faster and you could just kind of touch it and not have to worry about taking time on standing on top of it. You know, that would make it less painful. It's not that painful, but it would you know, just kind of scoot things along, so it would feel more like just something you pick up. And I don't know, I can only assume at this point that there's going to be some purpose to actually doing that for these other parts, but that's yet to be revealed, so can't say much about that. But yeah, I would say the platforming elements, when it starts going into pure platforming, definitely the mechanics aren't feeling as tight as they could be, in particular like the movement. I mentioned there's a lot of inertia on everything, and generally, like, if it's not really going to be an action game, then that's okay, but once you start getting into this kind of high action stuff, it can be pretty frustrating and just makes things harder than they need to be. So I mentioned, the Mega Man as an example of kind of the other extreme where you have zero inertia. You jump at like an instantaneous velocity, you move left and right at an instantaneous velocity. Your airspeed is the same as your ground speed in Mega Man. So everything just moves it's like hyper responsive in Mega Man, which is why Mega Man works as well as it does for what it does. And not every game needs to be exactly like that, but it's just an example of what very responsive controls are like. So definitely have to be careful about all the inertia on everything. And apart from that, obviously I mentioned the timing of things, all the different timings of all the different elements. It gets pretty annoying in my opinion when stuff just isn't lining up. And you have to kind of try and guess when to go through the thing. So I found that annoying, but apart from that, I think, everything was definitely possible. And I think there's definitely some good ideas there in terms of compelling platforming. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun, and it kept me interested. So kudos for that. Hopefully this video was useful. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up finally. But let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one.